Hi, welcome in. My name is Shawn Spencer of Shawn Spencer Photography. I'm a photographer in the Elk Grove, California area. I specialize in senior portraits, family photos, newborn photos, and headshots. And today I wanted to talk to you specifically about my newborn sessions and how they work. So you've all seen those cute little images online where the baby's snuggled up in a cute pose with the cute outfits, and you decide, hey, I really want that for my newborn session or for my newborn. So you book a session with me, and the first thing I do is after we've booked the session, I send you a prep guide along with a checklist. This helps you prep for the session. It helps you make sure that you bring everything to the session that you need and you don't forget anything. Okay, so today I wanted to walk you through what happens at the actual session. Okay, so my newborn sessions happen at my home studio. I have a space in my home that I set up for my newborn session. I have my props, my beanbag, all my backdrops, all of the stuff that's needed for a newborn session. I have blankets and beanbag wraps and or covers and blankets and the cute little outfits with the head bows and the bands and the hats and all that stuff and all the cute little props that you need for a cute newborn session. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is when you get to my home studio, I'm going to have you come in and you're going to get nice and comfortable. Okay, I'm going to offer you something to drink. Part of the checklist is I have you bring maybe some snacks for yourself. Sessions can be long, which I'm going to talk to you about that in a minute. So, but we're going to just kind of get settled in, maybe have a conversation, just relax. When you first walk in, you're going to notice that it's rather warm in the home. And the reason why is because it's more comfortable for the baby. And I'm going to talk to you about that in a little bit. But we'll get settled in. And then I'm going to have you undress the baby, and we're going to put the baby in a diaper cover and a wrap, okay, or a swaddle. And then I'm going to have you feed the baby. Now, I like you to feed the baby when you get to the home right before the session, because the baby will get nice and what I call milk drunk. Okay, we want that baby to have a full belly, and hopefully they've gone to the bathroom. We make sure that they're not gassy, okay, and they're all wrapped up and they're nice and full, and that gives us an environment of sleepiness. Okay, we want the baby to fall asleep so that we're ensured to get those nice, cute poses and those dreamy looking pictures that you have seen that you're hoping for. Okay, so we'll do that. We'll have the baby feed. One thing to mention is with a session, a newborn session, they typically last anywhere from 1 to 3, maybe 4 hours, depending on how the baby's doing. Now, every newborn photographer is different in their style and how they operate their newborn session, but I take my cue from the baby. Okay, so if the baby is doing well, a lot of times we can get those images done very quickly within an hour and a half, and we're done with the session. I've had newborn sessions where the baby is very fussy, and for the first hour, we don't get any poses done. Okay, but again, I take my cue from the baby, so sessions can last anywhere from 1 to 4 hours. Okay, on average, my newborn sessions are about 2 to 2.5. Okay, so once the baby is nice and swaddled, we're going to start working. Now, the environment I like to have in my home studio is one of calm and peace. And so not only is the heat turned up, and the reason why I have the heat turned up is because newborn babies have not been able to, do not yet regulate their body temperature. Okay, they come out, typically newborn session is done within 14 days after birth, and they haven't quite gotten to where they can regulate their body temperature. So we want to make sure that the baby is nice and warm. Okay, so I have the temperature up, and then they're nice and swaddled, and but having the temperature up, if we do any of those naked shots or we do any with the cute outfits and they're not all swaddled up, we still want them to be nice and toasty warm. Okay, and that's going to also keep them asleep. Okay, I also want the relaxing environment. So I play soft music, I use the shusher, and then I have essential oils in that space just to present a calm environment. Okay, and then when I'm talking with the parents, I do so not in a whisper, but I just want a soft tone when I'm talking to them, similar to how I'm talking now, just to keep everything nice and calm, okay? Babies take their cue from the adults in their presence, okay? And so if we're calm, it calms them. Now, I will talk a little bit later about fussy babies and what we do with that, my tips and tricks, but just know that we want that kind of environment of calm and peace. Okay, so now it comes time for the baby in the posing. And I have you guys sit, the parents can sit on the couch and they can relax and they can watch and they can just not worry about anything. I hire an assistant to work with me for my newborn sessions, and so she's always there, so that way moms and dads can sit and relax. Okay, so my assistant helps me with all of the posing. She's there to always watch the baby, because for me, safety is my #1 priority. Okay, safety of the baby. So I always want to make sure somebody's got their hands on the baby, that they are not going to roll off, everything's nice. The baby is watched and are, soothed, and it's easier to have an assistant who can get me things that I need, etc. Now, moms and dads, I may have them bring me something for the baby, or I may need some extra assistance with pose, but for typically, I do everything with my assistant, okay? I do all the wrapping, I do all the putting in the special outfits or whatever, so that moms and dads can just come and they can relax and enjoy the experience. Okay, as I mentioned before, safety is my first priority. So I'm following my lead from the baby. If the baby gets really fussy, I'm going to stop and make sure that the wrap is not cutting off their circulation, that they're not got something scratching them or what have you. So I'm going to check for that. If they're gassy, I'm going to stop and I'm going to use my tips and tricks on how to do the, relieve the gas and stuff. But there's also some poses that you might have seen other photographers do, and they're very cute and I really like them. But if I don't feel comfortable recreating those poses, I'm gonna let you know, okay? So for example, a lot of photographers like to do the froggy pose, okay? I don't feel comfortable doing the froggy pose. That is just not something that I feel comfortable doing, even with an assistant holding the baby, especially if the babies are newbies. They're just so pliable and they're just so like little mushes of, the Gumby little creature guy. And so I just don't feel comfortable. So I will let you know ahead of time if you have requested a specific pose that I won't do, just so that you know going into the session. Because again, I keep my safety of the baby as a #1 priority. Okay, so let's talk about fussy babies. Okay, so I have some tips and tricks I like to use for fussy babies. A lot of times, moms get really anxious at the photo session. Okay, they've paid for this, they're wanting the adorable photos, and so they're kind of at a heightened level of anxiety, and they really want the baby to not be fussy, etc. Moms are also sleep deprived, and so all of that kind of comes to the surface. And if the mom is anxious, the baby's going to feel that. So a lot of times, if a baby is fussy, instead of having mom soothe the baby, I will hold the baby. I use a yoga ball and I can bounce the baby. I've got the shusher. I have the soft music playing. And because I'm a little bit calmer, because I don't have the vested interest, so to speak, as the moms do, I'm not sleep deprived like the moms, I can be a little bit less anxious, and so the babies can feel that. They can sense that calmness, and that helps soothe them. Okay, so a lot of times if a baby's fussy, if I can sense mom is getting a little anxious, then I'll take the baby and let mom rest, and I will soothe the baby. Okay, there are times when, like I said, we take our cue from the baby. Maybe the baby is just having an off day, even if they've had a good day the day before. And so it could be that they're not having it that day. I actually have had sessions where, I think I mentioned before, the first hour and a half, or hour to hour and a half, we didn't get any images. We didn't get any posing done because baby is really fussy. So I work and I was able to finally calm the baby, and we were able to have a very successful session. But there comes to a point where after so long, I will have a conversation with the parents, because it might get to that point where after like an hour and a half, if baby is not doing well and you can tell it's just not going to happen, then we'll have a discussion about rescheduling, okay? Because again, we want to go off of baby, and they're little humans, okay? And they have their own little personality, and it could just be that they're overstimulated, whatever the case may be. Maybe they're just too gassy and they have an upset stomach, and so they're just not going to be asleep, or they're not going to be comfortable. And it's okay to have those awake pictures. And that's great. And I love those images. So if they're awake and they're not fussy, great. But if they're fussy and we just can't get them settled, we'll talk about a reschedule. Okay. Now let's talk about sibling photos. So a lot of times if there is a sibling, mom and dad will want to have a couple of images done with the sibling. Okay. Again, other photographers, everybody does it a different way. I like to do my sibling photos towards the end, okay? Because typically for a newborn session, the number one priority for parents, or for moms especially, is those cute, adorable newborn session pictures. So I want to get those done right off the bat, okay? Before baby gets fussy, okay, and gets overstimulated. So I typically like to do the sibling photos at the end. Now, with that being said, what I typically like to tell parents is if they can arrange it to have someone like a friend or grandma or even dad bring the toddler at a later time in the session, then we can stop with just the newborns, and we can do this, bring the siblings in. Okay, that way the siblings aren't sitting here and they're not bored and they're not distracting everything, and you know, that kind of stuff. If for some reason it doesn't work out, where they can come later and they're here, if dad's here or there's a friend, I do have a park around the corner, so the sibling can go. What I like to do at that point is we try to do the sibling photos a little bit earlier, so they don't get too messed up. I encourage parents to bring something for the sibling to do, and then something to eat and snack on. So I'll do some newborn session pictures, and then we'll do the sibling, and then maybe dad or a grandma, whoever has come with mom, can take the siblings to the park. Okay, I have a park around the corner, and that way they can play and I can finish up with baby. Okay, if mom and dad want to join in and we do a family photos, that's great. Usually with family photos, they're a little bit tighter cropped in, and the reason why is my space in my home studio is a little bit tight. It's mainly I do just the newborn session with a tiny sibling, but I have done families and I have done moms and dads. It's just a tighter space, so just know it won't be full body, it'll be those cropped up poses. Okay, so after all the posing is done and baby's done and we're kind of wrapping up the session, while mom and dad are dressing the baby or changing the diaper, doing another feed, I walk through the next step of the process, okay, and I talk to them about how long it'll take to get their images, I talk to them about sneak peeks, and then I talk to them about their online gallery and how to order, etc. Okay, so we're doing that as a final kind of walk through, okay, and then from there, I say goodbye and they can leave. So basically that's kind of how I run my sessions, and I really hope this was informative. I hope I can earn your business as a newborn photographer, and if you are interested in booking a newborn session, please see below. You can reach me through my contact page, and I would love to send you my portrait guide, which has my newborn packages and the different information that you would need. So looking forward to hearing from you, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me or reach out to me, and I hope to see you guys on the other side of the camera.